Okay, time for a lesson. Lesson 76. I am under no laws but God's. It's one of my favorite lessons. We have observed before how many senseless things have seemed to you to be salvation. Everything. And this is going to start to talk about the split in our mind, right? We got our ego mind, we got our spirit mind, and then we have a third part that's a creative mechanism that's always coming through whatever we're focusing on. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. You are not bound by them. Yet to understand that this is so, you must first realize salvation lies not there. So not in my job, not in my relationship, not in my bank account, not in my physical health with my body. While you would seek for it in things that have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. But what I believe in becomes true for me. So as long as I believe my salvation lies in these places, that's what will be shown to be true for me. Thus do you seek to prove salvation is where it is not. Today we will be glad you cannot prove it. For if you could, you would forever seek salvation where it is not and never find it. So this is why we can get more and more things and still not feel happy and satisfied, because that is salvation. Salvation is happiness, joy, freedom. And when we have a lot of things, when we're still not experiencing that, we realize that what we thought we were told by the world contained salvation doesn't. And this is why you can't serve two masters. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. Look for it where it waits for you, and there it will be found. Look nowhere else, for it is nowhere else. God's laws. Think of the freedom and the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you've set up to save you. You really think that you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs. You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off disease and death. You really think you're alone unless another body is with you. It is insanity that thinks these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalog of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose. When I was reading this, I was laughing because, the first day of COVID, I basically went out and got a job in retail and was around hundreds of people a day. And I never got COVID, but I was never scared of COVID. And I tested, of course, when I was around other people. I was still very respectful about it. A lot of people are scared of it. I didn't get vaccinated. I haven't been to a doctor in years. And yet I was out there and around it so much that I definitely should have. It is insanity that thinks these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalog of rituals that serve no use, that have no use and serve no purpose. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. Laws, it says. Protect the body and you will be saved. These are not laws, but madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see it is a victim of itself. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. This is why I think when Jesus healed people, he would say, you're forgiven of your sins. Because it's the mind that's suffering. It's the guilt. It's the regret. It's the four horsemen of the ego, right? Shame, guilt, fear, and feeling like a victim that make us sick. But as long as my body is suffering, then I can blame my body. It's like a shield that's up. So I don't have to really heal my mind. And over the last few months, I've really been in a place where I've cleared a lot of space where I'm focusing on this, and I see how my mind suffers. I see what my mind is up to. I don't have control of it. It bounces all over the place and mainly stays in ego mind. And now I'm practicing to get it up on the vibrational scale, to get in a better mood, to access the thoughts of God and feel the power up there. But it's a journey. It's not a sudden shift. Because I've been doing it so long, I should say. This is something that's really ingrained in my mind and practice. And I shouldn't say that because it makes it so. So I should say I'm shifting out of it really quickly and really easily. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over until you realize it applies to everything you have made in opposition to God's will. Your magic has no meaning. What is meant to save does not exist. Only what is meant to hide. What it is meant to hide will save you. The laws of God can never be replaced. We will devote today to rejoicing that this is so. It is no longer a truth that we would hide. We realize instead it is a truth that keeps us free forever. Magic imprisons, but the laws of God make free. The light has come because there are no laws but His. We will begin the longer practice period today with a short review of the different kinds of laws we've believed we must obey. These would include, for example, the laws of nutrition, of immunization, of medication, and of the body's protection in innumerable ways. I'm reminded of Jesus in the desert when he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And Satan challenges him. But Satan, if you look in old Kabbalistic texts, is defined as the adversary. And they believe that it's completely the ego mind. That's what Satan is. It's not outside of you whispering in your ear. It's in your mind, and you think it's you thinking. And so when Jesus was up against his ego, Satan, in the desert and was tempted, he just said, no, you're not real. And that's how he was able to overcome needing to eat or drink, I think. I don't know if it really went on 40 days. But when we think of him being in battle with his ego mind versus spirit mind, and then you think of this text, it makes a lot more sense. Think further, you believe in the laws of friendship, of good relationships and reciprocity. Perhaps you even think that there are laws which set forth that what is God's and what is yours. Many religions have been based on this. They would not save, but damn in heaven's name. It's like religious folk that say they believe in an all-loving, all-powerful God, but are so afraid because the world's going to hell in a handbasket. That's a very strange, unresolvable plurality. Like, if you really believe in an all-loving, all-powerful God, he's got this world. It couldn't be going to hell in a handbasket. He's either then not all-powerful or not all-loving. Either way. And then they might say, well, Satan lives on earth, and so it's Satan's world. So you'd say, well, when you put Satan back in your own mind, you'd realize that is what God is up against, per this book. And the reason it's going to hell in a handbasket is because I'm believing that it is. I think I'm believing it because I'm seeing it, but I'm seeing it because I believe it. I have the creative mechanism of God, the imaging device of God. And if I think that way, it will become true for myself and others. There's momentum there. I'm creating. But I have another option to create from my other mind. This is the Son of God or the Son of Man, is what Jesus would have talked about in the Bible to reference these two parts of mind. But this is talking at the laws of God or the laws of ego, either way. But when I'm thinking thoughts with God, when I'm in a great mood, when I'm feeling amazing, when I'm connected to like my fourth dimensional, all-powerful, non-physical self, so many things can happen that I'm not even aware of because there's another world and I'm creating from that place. It's beautiful. The kingdom of heaven is within me and I'm pulling it forth using that. Yet they are no more strange than other laws you hold, must be obeyed to make you safe. There are no laws but God's. Dismiss all foolish magical beliefs today and hold your mind in silent readiness to hear the voice that speaks the truth to you. You will be listening to one who says there is no loss under the laws of God. Payment is neither given nor received. Exchange cannot be made. There are no substitutes and nothing is replaced by something else. God's laws forever give and never take. Hear him who tells you this and realize how foolish are the laws you thought upheld the world you thought you saw. You thought you saw. This, we're going to get into the illusion. How Jesus overcame death and saved us from sin, not because he died for us, but because he didn't believe any of it was real and he didn't die. He showed us that we don't have a sinful nature. Believing we have a sinful nature is the problem. So he saved us from our sinful nature, but he was saving us from the belief in our sinful nature, saying, look, I didn't believe any of it, and so I was able to rise up and wasn't even killed, no matter what they do to me. I can't be betrayed. I can't be persecuted. None of these laws are real. It's all an illusion. Then listen further. He will tell you more about the love your Father has for you, about the endless joy he offers you, about his yearning for his only Son, created as his channel for creation. There it is. We're the focusing mechanism for the power of God. That's what our mind, the power that creates worlds, we're focusing it and creating. But when it's not from love, it's not actually creating, it's creating illusions. That's why forgiveness is forgetting everything but the loving thoughts that were given to you and you gave to others, because that's all that's real. Only thoughts or creations with God are real. Creating things from sickness and death and sadness and shame and guilt and fear and being a victim, none of that is actually real. We just perceive it as real in our physical bodies. About his yearning for his only son, created as his channel for creation, denied to him by his belief in hell. The belief in hell is the problem. Let us today open God's channels to him and let his will extend through us to him. Thus is creation endlessly increased. His voice will speak of this to us as well as of the joys of heaven, which his laws keep limitless forever. We will repeat today's idea until we've listened and understood there are no laws but God's. Then we will tell ourselves as a dedication with which the practice period concludes, I am under no laws but God's. I don't know why it puts things in negative terms all the time. I prefer to say I am only under the laws of God. I feel like that's a little bit of Helen's conflict as she was bringing this through. It was very negative all the time. We will repeat this dedication as often as possible today, at least 4 or 5 times an hour, as well as in response to any temptation to experience ourselves as subject to other laws throughout the day. It is our statement of freedom from all danger and all tyranny. It is our acknowledgement that God is our Father and that his Son is saved. I am only under the laws of God. Laws of God. It's the only thing that's true for me. And I'm going to go out with that today. I'm so excited. I was reading this great thing by Neville called I Know My Father that kind of goes along with this. The foundation of all expression is consciousness, and other foundations no man can lay. Try as man will, he cannot find another cause of manifestation other than God, his consciousness of being, what Neville calls his I am. So God is I am, just knowing that you are. Man thinks he's found the cause of disease and germs, the cause of war and conflicting political ideologies and greed. All such discoveries of man, cataloged as they are as the essence of wisdom, are foolishness in the eyes of God. There is only one power, and this power is God, consciousness. It kills, it makes alive, it wounds, it heals, it does all things good, bad, or indifferent. A prisoner must have a jailer, a slave a master. A nation that feels itself to be imprisoned will automatically create a dictator. You could no more rub out a tyrant by destroying him than you can your reflection by destroying the mirror. The consciousness of a nation produces its leaders. That which is true of a nation is true of an individual, for nations are made up of individuals. So I wonder what our politicians are saying about who we are. Man moves in a world that is nothing more nor less than his consciousness objectified. Not knowing this, he wars against his reflections while he keeps alive the light and the images which throw the reflection. I am the light of the world. I am. Consciousness is the light. That which I am conscious of being, my conception of myself, such as I am rich, I am healthy, I am free, are the images. The world is the mirror magnifying all that I am conscious of being. Stop trying to change the world. It is only a mirror telling you who you are. The man who is conscious of being free or imprisoned is expressing that which he is conscious of being. I do not care what men have diagnosed your problem to be. A problem might have a history ages long, yet I know it will vanish in the twinkle of an eye if you will faithfully follow this instruction. Change your conception of yourself. Change the reality of yourself. Stop believing in the laws of man and believe in the laws of God, for that is all you are under. And with that, I'll send you on your way. Have a beautiful, blessed day. I'll be with you in the journey.